Family, we're here yet again for another set apart day. Appreciate all you all tuning in here with the extended family this afternoon, getting into some word, keeping this day holy, set apart. Appreciate you all calling in. So we're going to begin. This study is why it is we keep the Sabbath and what we need to be doing on the Sabbath and what we shouldn't do on this set apart day. So we're going to begin in Deuteronomy chapter 18, verse 15. All right. And Deuteronomy chapter 18, verse 15. And it reads, and Yahweh, thy power, will raise up unto thee a prophet from the midst of thee, of thy brethren, like unto me. Unto him ye shall hearken. So this is Moses speaking to the children of Israel. And he's telling them that that the Most High is gonna raise up a prophet like himself, right? So this is prophecy. This is prophecy concerning who you all call Jesus Christ, But we know that there's no J in the Hebrew alphabet, so his name would have never been Jesus, Yahusha or Yahweh Shai, Mashiach. That is the one who is sent by the Most High, the only begotten Son of the Most High, right? So Moshe is prophesying about Mashiach, right? So we can precept this in Acts chapter 3. Let's go to Acts chapter 3, and we want verses, we just need one verse. Acts chapter 3, verse 22. Acts chapter 3, verse 2. No, I'm sorry, verse 22. So after your Gospels, it's after John. Hey, when you find it, let me hear you say hallelujah. Acts chapter 3, verse 22. Young man, you know what the book of John's at? Okay, now you need to go into the so-called New Testament. So you need to go into the New Testament. So go all the way past there. And after the book of John, Acts chapter 3, verse 22. And we're just precepting what we read in Deuteronomy 18, 15. All right, when you find it, let me hear you say hallelujah.
You said 23 and 24.
22. 3 and 22.
Hallelujah.
Keontae, you find it? Let me hear you say hallelujah.
All right.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and read it. This is the book of Acts, chapter 3, verse 22. For Moshe truly said unto the fathers, a prophet shall Yahweh your power raise up unto you, of your brethren, like unto me. Him shall ye hear in all things, whatsoever he shall say unto you. So this is pretty much telling us that what Mashiach has to say, we're going to follow those instructions. So thinking about that, the question should be, so what did Yahweh Shai Mashiach tell us to do? And we can read that in the book of John, chapter 14, verse 15. John 14, verse 15. The book of John, chapter 14, verse 15 reads, if you love me, keep my commandments. That's pretty simple, right? So what commandments is Mashiach talking about? We spoke about it a second ago. He simplified it for us in saying the two greatest commandments is loving the Most High, and the second is like unto it, loving our brothers the way that we love ourselves. But where did Mashiach get this from? He got this from what we read earlier. in Exodus chapter 20. All right. So let's go to Exodus, or if you're unable to do it, I'll go ahead and read it for you. But this is what we read in the beginning from Exodus chapter 20. We read verses 1 through 17. And I'll go ahead and read that again. This is the book of Exodus chapter 20, beginning at verse 1. And the Most High spake all these words, saying, I am Yahweh, your power, which have brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them. For I, Yahweh, your power, am a jealous power, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me, and showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments. So let's just take a brief intermission right there. Verse 6 says, showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments. So how do we find mercy from the Father? It's by being obedient to what he has commanded, following those commandments. All right, let's continue. Verse 7. Thou shalt not take the name of Yahweh your power in vain, for Yahweh will not hold him guiltless that taketh his name in vain. So the Most High is not going to play with that. Now, does that mean just speaking his name? That's not what that's talking about, right? That means bringing his name to naught, to where it doesn't mean anything, right? And chime anytime.
Yeah, that's being his people and not using his name properly. That's what that's speaking about. So this is the covenant that he made with us. So if you take this name in this situation and you agree to this covenant, which our forefathers, our ancestors agreed to this, and you bring his name to naught, he will not hold you guiltless. You're going to be punished for it. And part of that punishment is just look around and you'll see it.
Sometimes people don't know they're using it in vain, so they're used to hearing it on social media, hearing it in music, and they end up copying that. Like when I was growing up, I heard it, and I was like so used to saying some words that someone pointed it out to me. Don't say that. That's using the Lord's name in vain. So kids today may not realize, oh yeah, I can say Jesus H. Christ. I mean, they saying it in a way, but they're not knowing the indication of that. So it's a matter of be careful with someone like us who know that it's being used the wrong way to educate them. Otherwise, they'll continue.
Thank you. All right, so let's continue. Verse 8. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it set apart, or to keep it holy. 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work. But the seventh day is the Sabbath of Yahweh your power. In it you shall not do any work, you, nor your son, nor your daughter, nor thy manservant, nor your maidservant, nor your cattle, nor your stranger that is within your gates. For in 6 days Yahweh made the heaven, the earth, the sea, and all that in them is, and rested the seventh day. Wherefore Yahweh blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it. So, just looking at that commandment right there, it's, one might ask, what can I do on the Sabbath? But right there, he tells you what you can't do. It's not a day that you're supposed to be doing work, but we're going to get into some more things on what we should be doing during the Sabbath, during the set apart day. But let's continue. We're going to come back to that, remembering the Sabbath, though. But verse 12, honor your mother, honor your father and your mother, that your days may be long upon the land which Yahweh your power giveth you. Verse 13 says, thou shalt not kill. And really what that should say is, you shall not murder. Because sometimes, Yah forbid, but there's been people who have had to kill out of self-defense. You wouldn't be breaking the commandment if you're defending yourself and you take somebody's life, right? Now, if you plot and premeditatively kill someone who you're mad at, then you have transgressed the law. When you commit murder, you have transgressed the law. And this is a transgression that goes on widely in our community. It's because we have fallen into these curses. and we're not diligently hearkening after what the Abba has told us to do. Right? Verse 14, you shall not commit adultery. Anybody know what adultery is? Bring it out.
Cheating on your partner.
Okay. That's I'd say half, you're half right. You know, an adulterer would be someone who sleeps with a married woman that's not his wife, right? Or a married woman sleeping with someone who is not her husband, right? That's who an adulterer. That's what adultery is going to be. So you got most of the story. You received it like I received it growing up, right? All right. So verse 15, thou shalt not steal. Thou shalt not bear false witness against your neighbor. So we're not supposed to be lying on each other, which is something that it's nothing for us to tell a lie like nowadays. You know, we have to be mindful of when we're doing that because we're transgressing the law, right? And why does it matter? It matters because of what we read in verse 6, showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments. So if I'm transgressing and not following this, I can't expect to be receiving mercy, right? So that's why it matters. All right. Verse 15, thou shalt not steal. Verse 16, thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. Verse 17, thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house. Do anybody know what covet means? It means to want, to lust after. When I was growing up, I would see rappers or professional ball players. I'd see their material wealth and I would want it. I would lust after it. I was transgressing this law, right? But not only does it say not to covet his house, it says don't covet your neighbor's wife, nor his manservant, nor his maidservant, nor his ox, nor his donkey, nor anything that is thy neighbor's. That pretty much simplifies it. Anything that doesn't belong to me, I shouldn't be lusting after, no matter what it is, right? So, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, as far as that coveting, the key component in that is you see it and you desire it, but you won't let anything stop you from getting it. So you'll do whatever it takes to acquire it, even if it means being deceptive, even if it means stealing, even if it means murder, whatever it is, whatever it takes, you're willing to do that to get whatever this is. You know, great example. I hate to throw his name out there like that, but great example was King David. You know, he wanted Bathsheba so much that he was willing to have her husband die in the war, and so he ended up taking it, and he paid a very, very heavy price.
Indeed.
That some might even say that we are reaping the price of that same price that he paid. That we're dealing with that right now. So.
Yeah, so I want us to revisit verse 8 in that same chapter, Exodus chapter 20, verse 8. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days shalt thou labor in all thy work, but the 7th day is the Sabbath hour. In it you shall not do any work. You, nor your son, nor your daughter, nor your manservant, nor your maidservant, nor your cattle, nor the stranger that is within your gates. For in 6 days Yahweh made the heaven, the earth, the sea, and all that in them is, and rested the Sabbath day. And how Yahweh blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it. Okay, so you might be wondering, so like, where did that come from? Like, what is it talking about? Anybody have any idea what that's speaking about? The Most High setting apart the 7th day. You all aware where that comes from? Okay, let's go to Genesis chapter 2. Genesis chapter 2. Found it? Genesis chapter 2.
Very beginning. Second chapter.
All right, this is the book of Genesis, chapter 2, verses 1 through 3. And it reads, thus the heaven and the earth were finished, and all the host of them. And on the seventh day, the Most High ended his work which he had made, and he rested on the seventh day from all his work which he had made. And the Most High blessed the Sabbath day and sanctified it, because in it had he rested from all his work which the Most High created and made. So, you know, in the beginning, each day the Most High is creating something, right? We know on the sixth day he created man. On the first day he created the heavens, the earth, and the sea. And then throughout those other days, he's still making creations, right? Okay. But on the seventh day, he rested from all his work. Okay. So this is where that comes from. It's not just something that we're throwing out. It's the set apart day, because the Most High sanctified it, right? Let's go to Exodus chapter 31. And this is why, again, why we are keeping this set apart day. Exodus chapter 31. Exodus 31, and we want verses 12 through 17. And you all can just listen along. All right. So this is the book of Exodus, chapter 31, verse 12. And Yahweh spake unto Moshe, or to Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, saying, Verily, my Sabbaths you shall keep, for it is a sign between me and you throughout your generations, that ye may know that I am Yahweh that do sanctify you. So, bingo, right there, we grab what we need right there in 13, because we keep the Sabbath because it is a sign between the Most High and us, right? But we'll continue. Verse 14, ye shall keep the Sabbath, therefore, for it is holy unto you. Everyone that defileth it shall surely be put to death. For whosoever doeth any work therein, that soul shall be cut off from among his people. 6 days may work be done, but in the seventh is the Sabbath of rest, set apart or holy to Yahweh. Whosoever doeth any work in the Sabbath day, he shall surely be put to death. Wherefore the children of Israel shall keep the Sabbath, to observe the Sabbath throughout their generations for a perpetual covenant. Anybody know what perpetual means? It means constantly. It means forever, perpetual. So this is not something that we should just be ignoring now. You know, I'm just like y'all. I grew up going to church on Sunday. That's what grandmama did. That's what mama did. That's what all my loved ones did. They didn't have the understanding that we now have, right? Some of them might have had the understanding that seventh day was a set apart day, but sometimes we are just stiff-necked people, and we do things, we follow the traditions of men rather than doing what the Most High tells us to do, right? We got to come out of that. All right. So verse 7, you had something?
No.
Okay. Verse 17. It is, again, we're reading this again in verse 17. It is a sign between me and the children of Israel forever. For in 6 days Yahweh made heaven and earth, and on the seventh day he rested and was refreshed. So, you know, that's what I get from this day. Like, I'll be totally honest with you. Like, me and my ox, like, we'll get into the word, we'll do some worship, but it's a day that I can relax. You know what I mean? It's a day that I have no burden during that day, because it's nothing that I'm pressed to feel like I gotta do. All I gotta do is be obedient, and the Most High has granted me a day to do that. Yeah. You know, so it's a day. You know how you plug in your phone to your charger, and it builds up fuel or builds up battery strength. Right. That's what I'm doing on the Sabbath. I'm plugging back into my power, back into my source. Right? Hallelujah. Now, we read in there also that it says in verse 14, and this is a judgment for not keeping the Sabbath, right? But verse 14 reads, ye shall keep the Sabbath, therefore, for it is holy unto you. Everyone that defileth it shall surely be put to death. For whosoever doeth any work therein, that soul will be cut off from among his people. So we see a punishment there. And it's saying that death is the punishment for not keeping this set apart day. And we can actually read that in Numbers chapter 15. Numbers chapter 15. Some Numbers is before Deuteronomy, where we were at in the beginning, right? We're looking for Numbers 15, and we're going to read verses 32. And actually, I want to read verses 32 through 41, because I'm sure that you all were looking at our clothing when we came in here, right? These are fringes. Anybody wonder what that was? Okay. Well, these are fringes, and it's a commandment also. You're gonna see them on my brother Darren. You're gonna see them on my big ock over there. But like I said, we can read this in the book of Numbers, chapter 15, beginning at verse 32, and I'll bring it out. And while the children of Israel were in the wilderness, they found a man that gathered sticks upon the Sabbath day. So gathering sticks is work, right? So let's read what happens. What's going to happen to him for doing this, right? Verse 33. And they that found him gathering sticks brought him into Moses and Aharon and unto all the congregation. And they put him in ward, meaning they put him in a particular place where he couldn't get out, because it was not declared what should be done with him. And Yahweh, which is the Most High, said unto Moses, the man shall surely be put to death. All the congregation shall stone him with stones without the camp. And all the congregation brought him to the camp and stoned him with stones, and he died, as Yahweh had commanded Moses. Now, just continuing from this action right here, we get another commandment from the Most High, right? But let's read what it is. And Yahweh spake unto Moses, saying, speak unto the children of Israel, and bid them that they make fringes in their borders and their garments throughout their generations, and that they put upon the fringe of the border a ribbon of blue. So, like I said, you saw when we came in, you saw us with these fringes on. And this is where that comes from. This was the commandment that was given after this brother had transgressed the law. And let's see why the Most High wanted us to do it. Let's read that. All right. Verse 39. And it shall be unto you a fringe, that ye may look upon it and remember all the commandments of Yahweh and do them, and that ye seek not after your own heart and your own eyes, after which you used to go a horn, that ye may remember and do all my commandments and be holy unto your power. I am Yahweh your power, which brought you out of the land of Egypt to be your power. I am Yahweh your power. So the Most High want us to be able to look down at this fringe and remember the commandments. That's why you're gonna see people with these on, right? But let's continue. So we got a penalty for what happens when we're not keeping the commandment, right? And we don't always understand why the Most High does what he does, but it's not our job to really necessarily understand, right? But let's go to because we do have a job, but it's not always to understand. But let's go to the book of Ecclesiastes. We want verse 12. 12 and 13.
So Proverbs.
After Proverbs. This is the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 12, verse 13. Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear the Most High and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. It doesn't say that our whole duty is to understand. Our whole duty is to fear the Most High and keep his commandments. So, like in this life, different things are going to happen to us that we don't understand, right? We just got to continue to fear the Most High and keep his commands and keep it moving, right? And we know that when we're keeping these commands, mercy is being shown to us from the Most High, right? So let's go to the book of Ezekiel, chapter 20. Ezekiel being one of our prophets. And we know that the prophets were sent to the children of Israel to warn them, right? So, you know, the prophets are coming to the children of Israel to give them warning when they've gone off and to kind of bring them back to reality, right? So we want 20 and verse 12 is all we need. 20 and verse 12. And it reads, moreover, also I gave them my Sabbaths to be a sign between me and them, that they might know that I am Yahweh that sanctify them. That sounds like what we read in Numbers. You know, this is a sign between us and the Most High, right? Let's go to Exodus chapter 35. You all doing a pretty good job staying focused, man. Appreciate y'all. Exodus chapter 35. And we just need verses 2 and 3. All right, actually, I'm going to start at the top. This is the book of Exodus, chapter 35. And Moshe, or Moses, gathered all the congregation of the children of Israel together and said unto them, these are the words which Yahweh hath commanded that ye should do them. 6 days shall work be done, but on the 7th day there shall be to you a holy day, a Sabbath of rest to Yahweh. Whosoever doeth work therein shall be put to death. We saw that in that chapter in Numbers, the brother being put to death for gathering sticks. All right, verse 3: ye shall kindle no fire throughout your habitations upon the Sabbath. So kindling fire at this time, even now, if we were going to start a fire just out in the wild, we would have to gather some sticks. We would have to rub them sticks together. You know, that's going to be work, right? And we told not to work on this day. All right. So let's go to Leviticus chapter 19, because we're also hearing something that says we're hearing Sabbaths. So when we see that S on there, we know that that's just more than one Sabbath. But, you know, what is that talking about? So the book of Leviticus chapter 19, verse 3, ye shall fear every man his mother and his father and keep my Sabbaths. I am Yahweh your power. So there again, we see Sabbaths. So what is that speaking about? So then we go to Leviticus chapter 23. Leviticus chapter 23 is going to give us what these Sabbaths are. And I'm probably going to jump around a bit, just where we kind of save some time. But this is the book of Leviticus chapter 23, verse 1. And Yahweh spake unto Moshe, saying, speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, concerning the feast of Yahweh, which ye shall proclaim to be holy convocations, even these are my feasts. So we understand that these are feast days to the Most High. So let's read what that first feast day is in his eyes. Verse 3, 6 days shall work be done, but the 7th day is the Sabbath of rest. A holy convocation, ye shall do no work therein. It is the Sabbath of Yahweh in all your dwellings. So if I go to Jackson, Tennessee, I'm still going to keep the Sabbath. So wherever I'm dwelling at, I'm going to keep the Sabbath, right? But we read something else in there. We read about a holy convocation, right? Us getting together this day is a holy convocation. A little bit later, we're going to be partaking in some food. You know, we're going to be feasting. This is what we do on the set apart day. This is what our ancestors did on the set apart day. This is a heritage that we are trying to return to. I feel blessed and fortunate to be in the light and understanding that we're returning to what our ancestors were doing. And like I said, there's a bunch of assemblies, a bunch of congregations that are doing the same thing on this day. All praises, right? So let me jump down to verse 4. These are the feasts of Yahweh, even holy convocations ye shall proclaim in their seasons. Did you have a question? Okay. You know, when you go to school and your teacher's talking, do you talk then? You do? Do you get in trouble for it? Okay. So do you want to get in trouble today? Not really, do you? So stay focused for me, okay? Hey, listen, if you got a question, just raise your hand, man. I'll be happy to answer for you. Or try to. All right? Appreciate you. Sure. All right? So these are the feasts of Yahweh, even holy convocations, which ye shall proclaim in their seasons. In the 14th day of the first month, at even, is Yahweh's Passover. Y'all remember coming to the Passover, Sister Mule? You remember that? That was a feast. We kept the Passover this year down at the Y. A blessed time. Let's continue. All right. So the very next day, all right, verse 6. On the 15th day of the same month is the feast of unleavened bread unto Yahweh. 7 days ye must eat unleavened bread. In the first day ye shall have a holy convocation. Ye shall do no servile work therein. So doing no work. When I hear doing no work, that lets me know that this is a Sabbath. This is a day that I'm supposed to keep separate, a set apart day where I'm not doing any work. Right? Continuing to read. In the first day, you shall you shall have a holy convocation. You shall do no servile work, but ye shall offer an offering made by fire unto Yahweh 7 days. In the 7th day is a set apart convocation. Ye shall do no servile work therein. All right. And Yahweh spake unto Moshe, saying, speak unto the children of Israel. Or actually, I'm gonna jump down. I'm gonna jump down to said 10 out.
Yeah, this is to use it. So
okay, kind. Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, when ye become into the land which I give unto you, and shall reap the harvest thereof, then ye shall bring a sheaf of the first fruits of your harvest unto the priest, and he shall weigh the sheaf before Yahweh to accept it for you. On the morrow after the Sabbath, the priest shall weigh it. So we're hearing about a Sabbath, another Sabbath.
This is the feast of first fruit. That comes after Passover. You have unleavened bread, then you have the feast of first fruit. That's the first wave each year. That's the first wave of feast. So this is the beginning of the year, and in the first month, starting on the 14th day, this is where the Most High's feast begin with Passover, with unleavened bread, and then with the feast of first fruits.
Come. All right. Jumping down to verse 15. And ye shall count unto you from the morrow after the Sabbath, from the day that ye brought the sheep of the wave offering, 7 Sabbaths shall be complete. So 7 weeks after the day Mark was just talking about, even unto the morrow after the 7th Sabbath, shall ye number 50 days, and ye shall offer a new meat offering unto Yahweh. Ye shall bring out of your habitations 2 wave loaves of 2 tenths deal, shall be of fine flour. They shall be baking with leaven. They are the first fruits of Yahweh. And ye shall offer with the bread 7 lambs without blemish of the first year, and 1 young bullock, and 2 rams, that they shall be a burnt offering unto Yahweh, with their meat offerings and their drink offerings, and an offering made by fire of sweet savor unto Yahweh. All right, so let me jump down.
That's going into the feast of Shavuot.
Shavuot or Pentecost, the feast of Pentecost, another Sabbath, right? Yom Teruah is after that. Well, no, yeah, Yom Teruah, then Atonement. So I'm jumping down to verse 23. And Yahweh spake unto Moses, saying, speak unto the children of Israel, and say, in the 7th month, in the first day of the month, shall ye have a Sabbath, a memorial of blowing of trumpets, and a holy convocation. So that's let me know that there's another Sabbath that he's wanting out of us, right? So no works to be done on this day. And we're actually going to read that in verse 25. Ye shall do no servile work therein, but ye shall offer an offering made by fire unto Yahweh. And Yahweh spake unto Moshe, saying, also on the 10th day of this 7th month, there shall be a day of atonement, Yom Kippur. It shall be a holy convocation unto you, and ye shall afflict your souls, and offer an offering made by fire unto Yahweh. Ye shall do no work in that same day, for it is a day of atonement, that make an atonement for you before Yahweh your power. So we're reading about another Sabbath, another day that is set apart, right? And there's also some other things that we're supposed to do on that day. I won't really get into that at this point. Pray to be able to come before you all another opportunity to kind of break that down as well, though. But we're going to read about another Sabbath. Let's see. Verse 33. And Yahweh spake unto Moshe, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, saying, The 15th day of this 7th month shall be a feast of tabernacles for 7 days unto Yahweh. On the first day shall be a holy convocation. Ye shall do no servile work therein. So another Sabbath, right? 7 days ye shall offer an offering made by fire unto Yahweh. On the 8th day shall be a holy convocation unto you, and ye shall offer an offering made by fire unto Yahweh. It is a solemn assembly, and ye shall do no servile work therein. Right? So we read about those other Sabbaths, and this is what they're speaking about. Okay? All right. So let's continue. He's getting his rest, ain't he? It's all good. Hey, it's the day of rest. It's the day of rest. All right, all right. All right, so we got those feasts. Let's go to the book of Numbers, chapter 28. That boy's over snoring like Rick Ross.
Oh, let's turn around. I know this is a lot for you all. So I'm glad y'all here participating.
Indeed, indeed. All right, verse 28, verse 9. All right, stay focused, stay focused, stay focused.
Okay.
All right.
What scripture is it?
We're at Numbers chapter 28,
Verse 9.
verse 9. So, and this is, like, because a lot of people have questions. Okay, so what should I be doing on the Sabbath, right? And we read like what we're not supposed to do, and that's working, right? But this is one thing that we're supposed to do. Numbers chapter 28, verse 9. And on the Sabbath day, well, actually, let me begin at verse 8. Actually, let me begin at might have to begin. Okay, now I'll begin at verse 8. And the other lamb shalt thou offer at even, as the meat offering of the morning, and as the drink offering thereof. Thou shalt offer it a sacrifice made by fire of sweet savor unto Yahweh. And on the Sabbath day, 2 lambs of the first year without spot, and 2/10 deal of flour for the meat offering mingled with oil, and the drink offering thereof. This is the burnt offering of every Sabbath, beside the continual burnt offering and its drink offering. So the Sabbath is a day that we make offerings. Now we no longer make blood, sacrificial offerings or sacrifices like that. But we continue to make spiritual sacrifices. When we were singing earlier, right? When we were singing, that's a spiritual sacrifice, right? But we can read about this in Acts chapter 2. I'm sorry, 2 Chronicles chapter 31, and all we need is verse 3. And it reads in 2 Chronicles chapter 31, verse 3. He appointed also the king's portion of his substance for the burnt offerings, to which for the morning and evening burnt offerings, and the burnt offering for the Sabbaths, and for the new moons, and for the set feasts, as it is written in the law of Moses, in the law of Yahweh, rather. So we're just hearing about these offerings being made on the set apart day. Giving praise to the Most High is a spiritual sacrifice, a spiritual offering. And we can read that in Hebrews chapter 13. Hebrews chapter 13, verse 15 tells us, the book of Hebrews chapter 13, verse 15. By him, therefore, let us offer the sacrifice of praise to the Most High continually. That is the fruit of our lips, giving thanks to his name. So saying thank you, Father, is an offering that you can make. It's simple one, something that you all can do each Sabbath. When I'm not here, and when you all are wherever y'all are at, you all can always do this. All right. So Isaiah chapter 66, verse 23. This This is another thing that we do on the set apart day. Isaiah chapter 66, verse 23. Isaiah chapter 66, verse 23. And it shall come to pass that from one new moon to another, and from one Sabbath to another, shall all flesh come to worship before me, saith Yahweh. So worshiping the Most High is what we should be doing on the set apart day. A lot of our people believe that they go and worship on the first day of the week. I'll tell you this, you're not going to read anywhere on the scriptures where that was appointed for our people to do. You know, that is a tradition of men, right? And a lot of our people, I've got loved ones that feel like that's the day that they're supposed to go and worship on Sunday, but you're not going to read that in the scripture. I take that back. One Sunday out of every year, and I would never call it Sunday, but one first day of every year, and that's Shabbat. You know, that's the only time where it's appointed that we go and worship before the Most High. Every day of Pentecost is always going to fall on the first day of the week, so-called Sunday. All right? That's the only time that it's appointed. All right? Now, Psalms chapter 92, and we almost finished up, family. Psalms chapter 92, verse 1. And remember, we said that giving praise and singing praises is a sacrifice, right? All right. This is the book of Psalms chapter 92, verse 1. And it reads, a psalm or a song for the Sabbath. It is a good thing to give thanks unto Yahweh and to sing praises unto thy name, O Most High. Right? So singing praises on this set apart day, which is what we did earlier. Now let's go to Isaiah chapter 56. Isaiah chapter 56. And we're going to begin reading at verse 2. Actually, I'll begin from the top. Isaiah chapter 56, verses 1 through 6. And it reads, thus saith Yahweh, keep ye judgments or judgment, and do justice, for my salvation is near to come, and my righteousness to be revealed. Blessed is the man that doeth this, and the son of man that layeth hold on it, that keepeth the Sabbath from polluting it, and keepeth his hand from doing evil. So stopping right there. It says, blessed is the man that doeth this, and the son of man that layeth hold on it, that keepeth the Sabbath from polluting it. So, like, how do we pollute the Sabbath? Staying focused. We don't pollute the Sabbath by doing what he said to do. Don't do work, right? And there's some other things. There's some other ways that we can pollute the Sabbath, right? But we'll come back to that. But verse 3, neither let thy son of the stranger that hath joined himself to Yahweh speak, saying, Yahweh hath utterly separated me from his people. Neither let the eunuch say, behold, I am a dry tree. For thus saith Yahweh unto the eunuchs that keep my Sabbaths, and choose the things which please me, and take hold of my covenant. This Sabbath is a covenant, right? Even unto them will I give in mine house and within my walls a place and a name better than the sons and than of the sons and of daughters, and I will give them an everlasting name that shall not be cut off. Right? Verse 6. Also the sons of the stranger that join themselves to Yahweh to serve him, to love the name of Yahweh, to be his servants, everyone that keepeth the Sabbath from polluting it, and taketh hold of this covenant. So we heard that again, polluting the Sabbath. And you know, a question that we should have is, well, man, how would I pollute the Sabbath? Right? So just flip the page and go to Isaiah chapter 58, verse 13. Isaiah 58, verse 13. If thou turn away thy foot from the Sabbath, from doing thy pleasure on my holy day, and call the Sabbath a delight, the holy of Yahweh, honorable, and shall honor him, not doing thy own ways, nor finding thy own pleasure, nor speaking thy own words. So when we're speaking our own words on this set apart day, we are polluting the Sabbath. If we're doing our own pleasures on the set apart day, we are polluting the Sabbath. Now, suppose I want to go witness to some people on the set apart day. I decide to go out, pass out some flyers. I decide to I might want to feed some people on this set apart day. I'm being about the Father's business, so I wouldn't be transgressing the Sabbath. It might be considered work, but it's our Father's work. So this would be lawful for us to actually do. We can read many times in the scriptures of our King, Mashiach, Yahweh Shai, healing people and serving people. So he was being about his Father's business. Likewise, that's what we should be trying to do as well. Let's go to Jeremiah chapter 17. Jeremiah chapter 17. And we'll begin reading at verse 21, I believe. Okay, yeah. Jeremiah chapter 17, verse 21. Thus saith Yahweh, take heed to yourselves and bear no burden on the Sabbath day, nor bring it in by thy gates of Jerusalem. Neither carry forth the burden out of your houses on the Sabbath day. Neither do ye any work, but hallow ye the Sabbath as I commanded your fathers. Right? So jumping down to verse 27 in that same chapter. But if ye will not hearken unto me to hallow the Sabbath day, and to not bear a burden, even entering in the gates of Jerusalem on the Sabbath day, then I will kindle a fire in the gates thereof, and it shall devour the palaces of Jerusalem, and it shall not be quenched. That actually happened. You know, our people were polluting the Sabbath back then, right? And he destroyed that whole land, right? Yeah. Let's go to Nehemiah. Nehemiah chapter 10. Nehemiah chapter 10, and we're going to read from verses 31 and 33. The book of Nehemiah chapter 10, verse 31. And if the people of the land bring ware or any victuals on the Sabbath day to sell, so what shouldn't we be doing? This is what we're getting ready to read here. So these people are bringing stuff to sell on the Sabbath day. All right, so let me start again. And if the people of the land bring ware or any victuals on the Sabbath day to sell, that we would not buy it of them on the Sabbath day or on the set apart day, and that we would leave the 7th year and the exaction of every debt. Also, we made ordinances for us to charge ourselves yearly with the 3rd part of the shekel for the service of the house of the Most High, for the shewbread, and for the continual meat offering, and for the continual burnt offering of the Sabbath, of the new moons, for the set feasts, and for the holy things, and for the sin offerings to make an atonement for Israel, and for all the work of the house of the Most High. So buying and selling is something that Nehemiah is a prophet, right? He's giving us warning of what we shouldn't be doing on a set apart day. And buying and selling, you know, is something else that we shouldn't be doing.
Absolutely.
Right? Let's continue.
That's straight work. When you're buying from somebody who's selling, they're working. So you causing work, you causing work to happen, and supporting work to happen. So that's why that's a no-go.
Indeed. So let's go to the book of Amos, chapter 8. We almost finished up, man. Amos chapter 8, verses 5 and 6. All right, this is what Amos is a prophet. You know, the prophets were sent to our people to warn them for their transgressions. So in verse 5, Amos is telling us, you know, well, the Most High's gotten into his ruach, to stir him up to speak these words, saying, when will the new moon be gone, that we may sell corn, and the Sabbath, that we may set forth wheat, making an ephah small and a shekel great, and falsifying the balances by deceit, that we may buy the poor for silver, and the need for a pair of shoes, yea, and sell the refuse of the wheat. Yahweh have sworn by excellency of Jacob, surely I will never forget any of their works. So when we're polluting the Sabbath by selling and buying, the Most High's word is not going to come back void. There are consequences for it, right? Now, let's see what Mashiach, our King, see what he had to say about the Sabbath. Let's go to Matthew chapter 12. Matthew chapter 12. And we'll begin from the top. The book of Matthew chapter 12, verse 1. At that time, Yahushua went on the Sabbath day through the corn, and his disciples were hungry and began to pluck the ears of corn and to eat. But when the Pharisees saw it, they said unto him, Behold, they said unto him, Behold, thank you. But when the Pharisees saw it, they said unto him, Behold, thy disciples do that which is not lawful to do upon the Sabbath day. But he said unto them, Have ye not read what David did when he was hungry, and that they were with him, how he entered into the house of the Most High, and did eat the showbread. Excuse me. You staying focused? Focus.
We're almost done.
All right. How he did enter into the house of the Most High and did eat the shewbread, which was not lawful for him to eat, neither for them which were with him, but only the priests. Or have ye not read in the law, how that on the Sabbath days the priests in the temple profane the Sabbath and are blameless? Remember, we were talking about profaning the Sabbath by our actions. Like the priests offer a sacrifice each day, but they're profaning the Sabbath, but they're not blameless. If you're going out and you're being about the Father's business on the Sabbath day, you're blameless. Some people might say that you're doing work, but you're doing the Father's work on that day, right? So you're going to be blameless. All right. Continuing in verse 6. But I say unto you that in this place is one greater than the temple. But if ye had known what this meaneth, I will have mercy and not sacrifice, ye would not have condemned the guiltless. For the Son of Man is the master even of the Sabbath day. Verse 9. And when he was departed from thence, he went into their synagogue. And behold, there was a man which had a withered hand, or had his hand withered. And they asked him, saying, Is it lawful to heal on the Sabbath days? That they might accuse him. So they were trying to figure out some type of way to accuse him. Here's this man with a defected hand. And let's see what our King Mashiach did. And he said unto them, What man shall there be among you that shall have one sheep, and it fall into a pit on the Sabbath day? Will he not lay hold of it and lift it out? How much then is a man better than a sheep? Wherefore it is lawful to do well on the Sabbath days. So, all praises. Suppose I'm driving my car on the Sabbath day, and I get a flat tire. The religious people are gonna tell you that, man, you just gotta let your car be. Don't mess with it, right? A Pharisee is gonna tell you don't mess with it, right? But we're not religious. We're spiritual people. It's okay to do well on the Sabbath day. So if you are to go and fix your tire, you haven't transgressed. You're doing well on the Sabbath day, right? Continuing in that same book, verse 11. And he said unto them, What man shall there be among you that shall have one sheep, or slack? I just read that. Yeah, actually, let's go to yeah, let's see. Let's go to Mark chapter 2. Mark chapter 2, verses 27. Excuse me, fellas.
Focus.
Stay focused, man.
They're trying to get to work.
Oh, okay.
They got the job, but I have to give them another person.
Okay. All right. Mark chapter 2, verse 27. And they were, Mark chapter 2, verse 27 reads, and he said unto them, the Sabbath was made for man, and not man for the Sabbath. Therefore, the Son of Man is the master also of the Sabbath. That's just precepting what we read in that Mark chapter 12, right? Matthew, I'm sorry. All right. And let's go to Acts chapter 15. Acts chapter 15. And we were there a little while ago. And I think where I went to start. Okay. What I wanted to highlight in this section is that this Sabbath was given to the children of Israel. It wasn't given for all of the families of the earth, right? And we can read there's only certain things that the Gentiles have to do in order to be seen as righteous, right? And now the Gentiles that attach themselves to us, they need to be keeping the Sabbath as well. If that's what we're keeping, they need to be keeping it also, right? But let me begin at verse 11. This is the book of Acts chapter 15, verse 11. But we believe that through the grace of the King, Yahweh Mashiach, we shall be saved, even as they. Then all the multitude kept silence and gave audience to Barnabas and Paul, declaring what miracles and wonders the Most High had wrought among the Gentiles by them. And after they had held their peace, James answered, saying, Men and brethren, hearken unto me. Simon hath declared how the Most High at first did visit the Gentiles to take out of them a people for his name, speaking about Israel, speaking about us. And to this agree the words of the prophets as it is written, after this I will return and will build again the tabernacle of David, which is fallen down, and I will build again the ruins thereof, and I will set it up, that the residue of men might seek after Yahweh, and all the Gentiles upon whom my name is called, saith Yahweh, who doeth all these things. Known unto the Most High are all the works from the beginning of the world. Wherefore my sentence is that we trouble not them which from among the Gentiles are turned to Elohim, but that we write unto them that they abstain from pollutions of idols and from fornication and from things strangled from blood. Right? So this is what they have to do. Brothers, you know, like I said, I appreciate you all taking the time to listen. I pray that it was a blessing. I'm praying that you all have been edified by this word. I also pray for another opportunity to be able to come to you once again sometime soon. Anybody want to pray us out with a prayer? You got me? I appreciate you. Let's stand and face Jerusalem.